Hello, and our third lesson today is going to be based around punctuation. All to do with punctuation and the impact it will give us for our creative writing in our stories. So, why do we need punctuation? Please answer that question on the Google form and then return to the video. Okay, let's move on. Why do we need punctuation before we move on to that second question? Well, punctuation is needed for a number of reasons. Basically, without it, it wouldn't make sense, our writing, if somebody was to read it. It's as simple as that. Punctuation also adds effect and emphasis. It highlights certain areas. It makes the reader more interested in what we're writing and helps them to understand what we're trying to say. Here's my next question. How can punctuation make our sentences more effective in stories? Please answer this on the Google form and return to the video. Okay, so how can punctuation make our sentences more effective in stories? Well, it can be done in different ways. Basically, you could have it with short sentences or longer sentences. It doesn't really matter. I can add clauses in there to make them more effective. So if I want to add in extra information, if I want to use subordinate clauses and main clauses, I can use commas for that. If I want to add a fronted adverbial to add extra detail, again, all of these reasons. However, also, it's really important when it comes to the end of the sentences. And we're going to look at three types of punctuation today. So let's have a look. This is a sentence, life is hard. Okay, at the moment, it's fairly neutral. Okay, you may agree with it, disagree with it, but it doesn't really say a lot. Now, I've changed it. This time I've replaced the full stop with an exclamation mark. Notice the difference. Life is hard. Okay, it makes it sound like life is really tough. Okay, I could also change it for life is hard. Life is hard? Is life hard? Okay, so it's a question. Maybe it gets the reader to think about this. Life is hard. Life is hard. Again, it allows time for the writer to pause, to take thoughts about this, to think about it, but also for the reader to do the same, to think about it. It adds a sort of note of, what is life about? Is it hard? Okay, let's move on. Right, ellipses. So we know that we talked about ellipses. Ellipses, three dots, used at the end of sentences, okay, like so. They are a great way of pausing for thought and allowing the reader to really think about things, but also they build tension as well. Okay, life is hard. Okay, and it could be that that leads on to something where you could start, life is hard. Oliver had struggled throughout his entire life. So there, it could lead on to something else where you start to talk about life being hard for a particular person. So ellipses are really useful. Question mark. Well, the question mark is great for rhetorical questions. Life is hard. It's great for making stories and your story sentences effective by allowing, okay, giving the reader time to think about things, thinking about a character. Why is the character doing this? Okay, but maybe they don't need to do it, or maybe the answer is already there. It's just making you more, how should I say, or the reader more interested in the character and understanding the character. Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark is the easiest in terms of adding impact because it does add impact. It literally makes the sentence stand out. Life is hard. Okay, you can see the impact that it has. So these three are a great way of adding impact to sentences in story writing. Okay, they're really, really good. Now, you don't want to overuse them. Okay, now this is a paragraph where they are potentially overused, but they add enough impact in a short paragraph. And I think this paragraph uses only exclamation marks, question marks, and ellipses. But what I want you to do now is have a go using this paragraph. You'll see in your Google form, this paragraph is on there, but it's got, instead of the red marks here, okay, the red rectangles, it has an underscore, okay, an underline there. That means the punctuation is missing. It will either be an ellipse, it will either be a question mark, or it will be an exclamation mark. What I want you to do now is go through each of the questions, not the questions, sorry, or the questions, each of the questions, and decide which of the choices, A, B, or C, is best for that sentence in the context. That means within this paragraph. So you keep going back to the paragraph and looking at it. If it doesn't make sense within the whole paragraph, then don't use it. Right, I'm going to stop this video here. And then what I want you to do is, you've got a fantastic task today. It's all to do with